Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we have the election of officers. First, I need a nomination for president.
I'd like to nominate Chucky Sheremy.
All right, got a nomination. Any other nominations? Nominations twice? 3 times. We'll take a roll call vote, Mr. Otian?
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Colley?
Okay. Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
Yes.
Seat B, Johnny Ardon.
Wait, you have to say the name.
State the name of the position.
Yep.
Okay, Chucky Sheremy.
Seat B, Johnny Ardon.
Yes, Mr. Sheremy.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafourche.
Chucky Sheremy.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair Sr.
Mr. Chucky Sheremy.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Chucky Sheremy.
Seat F, Larry Griffin absent. Seat G, John Mellison.
Mr. Sheremy.
Seat H, Mike Colley. Chucky Sheremy. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Harris Chucky Sheremy, Jr.
All right. That's it, Mr. Avocado? All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Next, we have nomination for vice president.
I'd like to nominate Rodney Gisclair.
We got a nomination for Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Going once, twice, 3 times. All right. Have a vote, Mr. Secretary.
Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
Rodney Gisclair.
Seat B, Johnny Ardon.
Rodney Gisclair.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafourche.
Rodney Gisclair.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair Sr.
Rodney Gisclair.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Rodney Gisclair.
Seat F, Larry Griffin absent. Seat G, John Mellison.
Mr. Gisclair.
Seat H, Mike Colley, Rodney Gisclair Sr. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Rodney J. Gisclair, Sr.
All right. Mr. Rodney Gisclair is now vice president. Now we have for secretary. Open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Mike Colley.
We got a nomination for Mike Colley. Second for Mike Colley. Any other nominations? Third nomination? All right. Mr. Secretary, take a vote.
Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
Yes, Mike Colley.
Seat B, Johnny Ardon.
Mike Colley.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafourche.
Mike Colley.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair Sr.
Mike Colley.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
Mike Colley.
Seat F, Larry Griffin absent. Seat G, John Mellison.
Mr. Mike Colley.
Seat H, Mike Colley. Mike Colley. Seat I, Chris Colley.
Charles Mike Colley.
All right, Mr. Colley, your secretary. Next, we have treasurer. I nominate Mr. John Mellison. So, any other nominations for this for treasurer? Treasurer once, treasurer twice, treasurer 3 times. All right, Mr. Colley.
Seat
Roll
A,
call.
excuse me, Seat A, Chucky Sheremy.
John Mellison.
Seat B, Johnny Ardon.
John Mellison.
Seat C, Jimmy Lafourche.
Abstain.
Seat D, Rodney Gisclair Sr.
John Mellison.
Seat E, Curtis Pierce.
John Mellison.
Seat F, Larry Griffin absent. Seat G, John Mellison.
John Mellison.
Seat H, Mike Colley. Vote for John Mellison. Seat I, Chris Colley.
John Mellison.
All right, Mr. Mellison, your treasurer.
Thank you, sir.
All right. That's it, Mr. Lawyer? All right. Moving on. Approved minutes for January 12, 2022 meeting. Need a motion.
Move.
Moved by Mr. John Mellison, second by Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All approve? All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have director's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First is our Northern Expansion projects. Northern Expansion Slip C and Flotation Canal 1,500-foot bulkhead, PCO and Associates.
Yeah, so the contractor is APC Construction. We gave them the notice to proceed on January 3rd. They're currently on site grading and shaping and building their access road and also building the cofferdam where they're going to drive the sheet piles. They expect to start coating and painting sheet piles and steel sometime later this month.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Northern Expansion Slip D and Bayou Lafourche Dredge Project, GIS Engineering.
Good morning. The contractor for this project is Crosby Dredging. They are progressing with their dredging in Slip D. They expect to be finished with their project sometime next month, mid to late March.
Any questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay. Update on airport projects, airport operations, Davey Bro.
Operations for last month, 4,024 operations. Personnel, 2,624, and our vehicle count in the airport was 17,732.
Okay. Airport Connector Road and Bridge, PCL and Associates.
As the contractor is Sea Level Construction. They've been working on Highway 3235 drainage. They've kind of pulled off for a little while working on that. They'll be back in the next month or so keep completing that work. They're in the bayou right now. They've driven some steel sheet pile for the head wall on both sides of the bridge, on both sides of the bayou, and they are setting up right now to start driving the concrete piles for the first bridge bend, and they'll be doing that over the next couple months.
And just for an update on timing, how far are we into the project, and what's the expected timeline?
We're probably only about 10 to 15% complete. The completion date is September of 2024.
Right.
So we're a long ways away.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, our seal coat and pavement markings project, GIS Engineering.
The contractor for this project is G Asphalt Systems. We have gotten the contracts pretty much in order. We will be hosting a pre-construction conference next Tuesday.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, how long is that gonna take, or?
The actual project is probably going to take like 3 months, but it comes in spurts. They have to come and take all the stuff out and then put temporary stuff down, and then they got to wait and let it set, and then do that a couple more times. So the airport will be closed, I think, 24 hours, 3 times or something like that.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right. Our approach obstruction removal, Davey Bro.
Approach obstruction removal, LNB Services is the contractor. We did have a pre-construction meeting a week ago, and notice to proceed will probably be in the next week or 2. We're waiting on one piece of equipment.
And on that project, we have an amendment to the servitude agreement with Alain Lebreton Company later on the agenda. Any questions? Okay, South Fuchsia Industrial Mobile Home Park, PCL and Associates.
Yeah, so we took bids on January 10th. You guys have worked out an agreement with the proposed tenant. Low bidder was Onshore Material for the project in the amount of $462,045 even. I guess they'll take it up later in the meeting to award the project. It basically consists of limestone for 12 trailers, a sewer plant, light poles, extra fire hydrants, and services for the buildings.
Yep. And we have, if you recall, we have a lease with RLC for 10 of those 12 sites that we're creating. So, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Joe, you can stay up because we're moving on to other projects, and you have the Fuchsia Pavilion.
Okay, so Onshore Companies is the contractor on this project. They've been on site doing prep work. They've delivered a lot of material to the site. They are planning on excavating and bringing in some sand for the foundation next week. And then shortly after that, they're going to start driving piles. Davey and I have been coordinating with Entergy on power, etc. We do have a change order in the amount of $4,692 even. We had planned on reusing the connection for the power, a 600 amp service connection that was left over from the concrete plant. That got flooded during Hurricane Ida. We went out there and looked at it, and it's really not any usable any longer. So we got a bid from the price from the contractor to do it. We think it's a big panel. I mean, it's 600 amps, so it's a fair price. So we recommend that you guys give them that change order.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, Bayou Lafourche Mooring Dolphins, Angelique Picciola. Sandy.
Good morning, Sandy Guidry with Angelique Picciola. The contractor, Bomac Contractors, has completed the work, and we're currently in the clear lien.
All right, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have an update on Hurricane Ida projects. CSRS is here. I don't know if you have any comment or anything. We just want to thank you for being here.
I didn't come prepared to actually speak on this, but yeah, we've had our RSM, our recovery scoping meeting with FEMA. We've had those discussions with your team here about the results of that. We're working with their PM, with FEMA's PM, and doing all the grants management work, finishing up the assessments of what insurance may or may not cover to roll into the equation about what FEMA will consider reimbursable. So we're working through the development, all the damage inventories and the DDDs. We have just released some scoping documents and have notified some of the AEs that they're being awarded some of these sites. So we're getting all that stuff together to prepare them to do all of their work to start some of these sites. So that's roughly where we are, and we're
for not being prepared. You did a good job.
Well, we're well ahead of the process in our 60-day timeline to have all of our DDDs finished. Like I said, that meeting went well, and so far all the back and forth with FEMA has been positive.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and so just on some particular projects, the debris removal is moving along. Davey, you want to give a brief on that?
Yeah, the debris removal contractor's on site. He had 6 trucks hauling out. He's actually adding a couple of trucks this week to get it to the final destination, which is on Highway 90. And if you see on the right in this photograph here, we were having issues with overweight loads because there's a lot of limestone mixed in the debris from our tenants having limestone yards. That is being sifted through, and we'll be able to reuse that limestone and dirt fill on sites in Fuchsia instead of sending it to landfill. So we'll save a little money and reuse that material.
Okay. And just again, a quick update on the port complex next door, where we all know we had bid out a project to go ahead and do the demolition of that building because it's over, I don't know, 60% damage or whatever that percentage is. But in working with CSRS and working through the FEMA process, instead of moving forward too quickly and chancing that we wouldn't get reimbursement for replacement value of the facility, which we could be leaving on the table somewhere between $400,000 and $600,000 that we could get reimbursed to us. We're going to slow roll it and follow through with the full FEMA process and make sure that they come in and do their inspection that they need to do so they can approve replacement value for that facility. So to the general public, they see a big hole in the building. We really want to get that eyesore out of the way, but we're leaving too much money on the table if we do too quickly. So just want a brief update on that. And then, as he mentioned just a second ago, we have begun to award projects in particular for these facilities, this building here for repairs, and the 2 buildings in the port, and the maintenance shop as well, and the wharves, in the 3 locations at the public boat launch, the front Fuchsia Marina and Nerby Collins Marina, as well as we have a wharf at the Storm Harbor that has a piece that's broken as well that we need to repair. And then we have also dredging, flotation canal siltation that we had in that location. So then we'll continue to update you as we award more projects as we move forward in the coming months. And then the last thing is the Bayou Lafourche debris removal. As y'all know, there was a number of vessels that was removed by the Corps of Engineers and other federal agencies. Now there's still some debris that's kind of in the bayou on the banks that we know sooner or later will potentially end up in the middle of the bayou, causing causing issues with traffic, marine traffic and navigation in the bayou. So we're putting together finalizing a project, double checking all of those sites and getting GPS coordinates so we can move a project forward, get some pricing, and get all of that debris out of the bayou. Any comment on that, Davey? No? All right. Any questions on Hurricane Ida thus far? This will be on our agenda for a long time. All right, moving on to public comment, and I know we have Ms. Wendy Thibodeau here, tax assessor, that wants to discuss a few things with us. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Do I have to state my name?
No.
Okay. Well, I never know. It's different for everybody. I'm here to kind of tell everybody, I'm going around, y'all are my first stop of the news of the decrease in ad valorem taxation revenue that y'all are not going to be receiving. In 2020, y'all received from ad valorem taxes $3,690,000. For 2021, it'll be $2,387,128.05 for a difference of $1,303,138.56. That's a decrease of 35.31% for this district. Overall, for the parish, we took a 25% decrease. Initially, I had anticipated closer to a 40 to 50% decrease. What actually saved that was I met with Chet. My initial thought was that the 3 large cranes in Fuchsia, they're valued in around $25 million a piece, and my initial thought was that they were destroyed. So I was going to have to remove $75 million of fair market value off of the roll. After meeting with Chet, he told me that they were damaged but not destroyed, which helped us tremendously because they just got a decrease. They didn't get totally removed from the roll, which brought that percentage from 40 to 50 down to 25. It has been a long process. The anticipated, I have to go, the books just closed yesterday, that's why I was able to give you the numbers today. The only thing that will adjust these numbers is I have to go in front of the Board of Review and hear appeals on the 22nd. The only way that'll decrease or change in any manner is dependent on what happens there. I haven't gotten any appeals as far as industry, which is usually what I get. That could change. They still have until, I don't know, like 7 or 10 days to do that. After the 22nd, I am on the agenda tentatively for the Tax Commission to get the roll certified on March 6th. I have spoken and worked closely with Craig Weber, our sheriff, and he is anticipating to get the bills out a week and a half after that. And so the bills will be due 4 to 6 weeks after that. So, believe it or not, I have a lot of people inquiring about paying their bill. I think they enjoyed the decrease, so they want to make sure I don't change my mind. And I'm getting a lot of emails and phone calls to pay their bill, so I'm not anticipating too much delay after that 6-week period. I am here for any questions.
Nope, thank you for coming. Anybody has questions?
I do have a question.
He would.
He would, he says. So how does it work on so like the next year, so the end of this year's roll, for how is that going to work? Does it just immediately go back to normal, or is it kind of reassessed to see what it looks like?
So what's going to happen is as soon as I'm finished, as soon as the bills go out, I don't change a roll until the bills are over. That's kind of like my deadline, my ending point. Once that happens, I will switch over to a 2022 database, and everything will go out. All of the normal paperwork that goes out in January, that'll all be sent out as soon as the bills are published, printed. So once that happens, all of the hurricane deductions that were applied for 2021 will be removed from every single solitary assessment. From that point on, everybody will have, the Constitution only allows me to do that for 1 year, the year that the hurricane actually took place. So I have to go back, and all of the values will go back to the 2020 reassessment values. So whatever you had in 2020, those, unless you added on a garage or something, I'm talking about normal, if you didn't do anything to your property. I'm not saying if you fixed the roof, or I'm saying if you added on square footage, or you added on a garage or something like that, that'll be different. But if you didn't do anything but just make yourself whole again, then your value will go back to what it was in 2020. I will not reassess those properties until 2024, when the next state mandated reassessment is in place. That it actually works out because it'll give me time to see what the market will do. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. It just depends on areas. I'm anticipating that it'll be different all over the parish. Up in Thibodeau, I'm anticipating an increase in 2024, but down here, I don't know. I really don't know. That's kind of where it's going to go. So in 2022, if you still have damage to your property, and that includes personal property as well, if it's still damaged, you will have to come. It'll be a case-by-case basis. I'll still have the program where you can send in your documentation, but you're going to have to prove that it is still damaged and it is not repaired. It will be valued according to that process. So even if you repaired your roof but you didn't repair inside, it'll be valued accordingly. I'm not anticipating too many problems with that because I've gotten guidance from other parishes on how they did it after floods, storms, hurricanes, so forth. So I'm just going to kind of follow their lead on this because it seemed to work. Our parish is different just because of the geographical layout, so I may have to tweak that a little bit. Also, if any properties were demolished, residential properties, not business, but any residential properties that were demolished, the Constitution does allow for me to leave their homestead exemption on for 2 years, as long as they do not have a homestead somewhere else. So if they demolish their property, even if they live somewhere else, if they rent in somewhere else or they're living with their mom in another parish or state, they're still entitled to that homestead exemption for 2 years, as long as they don't claim a homestead somewhere else. Now, they're entitled to that homestead up to 5 years, but after the 2-year period, they have to prove to me that their intention is to come back to that property.
All right.
Good.
Any questions for Mr. Thibodeau?
Appreciate it.
Okay. If y'all have any questions after this, please feel free to call me. It's a little hectic in my office. I'm trying to wrap up and start up, but anytime y'all need me to come and answer questions, feel free.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the board, in terms of the numbers she just gave us and what we would, we received last year, like she said, 3.6 million. This year, once this all done, we're going to receive 2.3 million. For budgeting purposes, and Miranda could correct me if I'm wrong, we actually budgeted 50% reduction, so we're above what we budgeted. So for budget purposes, we're in good shape. Okay, just wanted to clear that up with you all and make sure you understood that. The next thing I wanted to briefly mention under public comment, if that's okay, Mr. President, is we hit a milestone this week on the LA1 project. They had the pre-construction meeting with James Construction on Monday morning, and then yesterday the notice to proceed was issued. So the project is progressing as we anticipated. So I just want to give that briefing. That's awesome. There.
Good. That's good.
And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right. Any other public comment? All right. We're moving into Executive Committee. Members are Chucky Sherman, Chairman, Ronnie J. Gisclair, Mike Culley, John Mellison, Jr. First, we have consider approving the amendment to the COVID-19 response policy.
All right, so we're having to, continually amend our COVID policy, and this one is, again, to follow further along with the current CDC guidelines and how we deal with quarantined employees and sick employees in terms of COVID. So recommendation to approve this policy.
All right, I need a motion. Moved by Mr. Mike Colley, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the amendment to purchase and disbursements policy.
Okay, so, and I'll let Bryce explain it, but items 2 and 3, so the one you just read, plus the next item of consider approving the amendment for Port Security Grant Program Policy Manual are actually going to be together. So Bryce, if you want to explain that briefly.
Sure. As we discussed on Monday night, these are due to comments from different FEMA representatives that they come to audit our, review our policy to see if we have all the policies and procedures in place that are required by the grants that we apply for. A lot of these have to do with provisions that are already required in the federal law that we follow, but we haven't necessarily put them into our written policy manual. So actually number 2 and 3 on the agenda, we were able to to consolidate into one. So all the provisions that we needed to add, I believe we were able to add them to our purchases and disbursements policy. So this is kind of we're trying to be as proactive as possible. If for some reason FEMA's still not satisfied, we'll come back with, to y'all at a later meeting to clarify whatever we need to do, but I believe we've addressed most of their concerns. Again, just examples of what's in there. You can see it in your folder, but it's compliance with equal employment opportunity, Davis-Bacon Act, Clear Water Act, Clear Air Act, checking to make sure contractors are not suspended or debarred before we contract with them, things like that. Things we already do before today we're not in our written policy. So if y'all could entertain a motion to approve number 2, and if we're able to do that, we don't need to take any action on this.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 2 and 3 on the agenda.
Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce, second by Mr. John Mellison. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. So we don't need to do 3.
That was complicating for a while.
Consider approving the request from Sodexo to lease site GLF 199-A.
All right, so Sodexo wants to put a food truck on the former La Casa on Wheels site. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Jimmy Lafont, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, considering approving the amendment to the servitude agreement with Alain Blayton Company.
All right, so this amendment is basically to cover what the actual project is going to be. Initially, we were just topping the trees. Now we're actually clear cutting the area. And then it also says that we'll mow the grass twice a year. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Rodney Pierce, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair, second by Mr. Curtis Pierce. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, consider approving the request from Rotorcraft for a buffer zone lease.
All right, so Rotorcraft has been having this site under right of first refusal, and they need a buffer zone as for landing. They would continue to pay us that same amount that they pay for a right of first refusal, but added to that, they would maintain it by cutting grass and that sort of thing. Bryce, any other comment on that?
Just that when we talked about it, the area is highlighted in yellow, outlined in yellow,
right.
The area highlighted in yellow.
We're adding, yeah.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Jimmy Lafont, second by Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next, we have consider approving the eviction deadline for Cajun Truck Plaza.
All right, Mr. President and board members, if you can give me a little time, I'll try to explain this, and I want to make it understood that we don't take this type of thing very lightly when we're dealing with our lessees. So we've historically dealt with Cajun Truck Plaza in terms of late payments of rent, and we've been able to work those out. But back in August, we had another round of non-payment of rent for 3 months in a row. So we submitted a letter, again, in early August, stating that they needed to pay May, June, and July. So in mid-August, we received a payment for just May. So that still left them in default of their lease because they didn't pay for all 3, and that's what the letter requested. And then the storm came, things happened, and we kind of let some leeway pass. We still had not received any more payments. In December, we said, they hadn't paid June, July, or August, and then we sent them a letter stating, hey, look, you owe us $52,000. And that was basically from June to December in rent. So we've been going back and forth since then. Now, in the middle of that, for 2 weeks, in the first 2 weeks of September, we actually did an across the board. The board approved to not have rent. So that's mixed in there. But ultimately, what we're requesting and suggesting that you approve is for us to send a letter to the Cajun Truck Plaza that says, unless we receive payment for June, July, and August by February 28th, that we would continue with eviction proceedings, which would be filing with the court to evict them from their lease. Okay? And that's where we are. Now, I have had discussions with Cajun Truck Plaza on what their plans are, and they're really not sure. I guess their thought right now is, because of issues that have taken place with insurance funding, you know, they no longer have any liens on their or mortgages on their site. The bank has cleared their mortgages. They've paid those off. They are working with the rest of the funds that they have to maybe get the kitchen together, and then he told me that they would put a for sale sign on the site. Ultimately, that doesn't change the fact that they haven't paid rent since June, and we're requesting 3 months of rent, so that if those 3 months of rent are done, that doesn't leave them out of the woods, but it'll stop the eviction process. And then we have to work with them on what we do with the rest, if anything. But the bottom line is that we haven't received payment for any, this is the only tenant we haven't received payment on, and there were 3 months even prior to the storm that were unpaid. And that's the 3 months we're dealing with right now. The rest can come later. So I know that was a lot, and I just wanted to be kind of open about where we are and what's happening, and see if, you know, based on this discussion, to make sure that y'all are okay with that movement process on this location in the port.
All right, need a motion.
To clarify, if y'all decide to take that action, if Cajun Truck Plaza did not make that payment by the deadline, what would happen is the lease would terminate, and then we would start eviction proceedings to be able to take possession back of that property.
Right.
So if y'all want to include that in the motion.
Yeah, we need a motion. Moved by Mike Colley, second by Mr. Curtis Pierce. Okay, now any discussion? All right, any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passed. Okay, next we're getting out of executive committee, going into permits and waterways. Members are Curtis Pierce, Chairman, Jimmy Lafourche, Chucky Sheremy, and Johnny Ordone. Mr. Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have two permits. The first one is for Loop LLC, and it's for repair of a 4-inch diesel pipeline to increase the footprint of an original repair plan. That's going to be in Lafourche Parish. The next one is a Greater Lafourche Port Commission, a proposed restoration and nourishment of existing marsh and black mangrove habitat located on the west, located west of Port Fuchsia in Lafourche Parish. And that concludes my report, Mr. President, for the permits and waterways.
Chris. All right.
Chris.
You want to do construction and development?
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay. We're getting out of permits and waterways, going into construction and development committee. Members are Larry Griffin, Chairman, Chris Colley, Jim Lafourche, Chucky Sheremy. Mr. Griffin's absent, so Mr. Colley.
Thank you, Mr. Sheremy. First, we have consider approving the bids for the SL Industrial Mobile Home Park.
All right, as we discussed, we received bids from Onshore Materials LLC, was the lowest responsive bidder for $462,045. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion.
I move.
Moved by Mr. Rodney Giscard, second by Johnny Ordone. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Next, we have consider approving change order number 1 from Onshore Construction for the Fuchsia Pavilion.
All right, so as discussed, this is an increase of $4,692 for the electrical panels. Recommendation to approve.
All right, need a motion. Moved by Mr. Curtis Pierce, second by Mr. Chris Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
And lastly, we have consider approving the substantial completion certificate from Pisciola Construction for the roof repairs at Avenue 8 Office and Warehouse.
So those were the repairs that were done prior to the storm. We just never closed out the project because of everything that happened since then, so we're finally closing that out. Recommendation to approve.
Okay, we got a motion by Jim Lafourche, second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the Construction and Development Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Next, we're going to Finance Committee. Members are John Mellison, Jr., Chairman, Rodney Gisclair, Sr., Mike Colley, and Chucky Sherman. Mr. Mellison, your turn.
Good morning and thank you, Mr. President. We'll begin by consider approving the payment of the January 2020 invoices and recognizing those over $10,000. We'll begin with item 1, Sea Level Construction, $1,526,349.03, and that's for the Airport Connector Road and Bridge Project. Item 2, Crosby Dredging, LLC, $1,003,364.35, and that's for dredging of Slip D in Lafourche. Item 3, APC Construction, LLC, $127,057.20, and that's for the Slip C bulkhead. Item 4, Onshore Construction Company, LLC, $111,728.50, and that's for the Flotation Canal Pavilion. Item 5, Picciola and Associates, $75,711.71, and that's for Slip C bulkhead, Airport Road Bridge Project, the Flotation Canal Pavilion, the Industrial Park Trailer Park Project, mechanic shop repairs, and permits for engineering. Item 6, Whit O'Brien, LLC, $55,974.18, and that's for debris removal monitoring services. Item 7, SHI International Corporation, $50,332 even, that's for C4 renewal. Item 8, CSRS Disaster Recovery Management, $49,253.75. That's the Disaster Grant Management Consultant fee for Hurricane Ida. Item 9, GIS Engineering, $44,201.70. That's for the West Fuchsia Marsh Creation General Engineering, Airport Terminal Building, the Fuchsia Island Bridge, dredging of Slip D, Hurricane Ida Storm Survey, and mitigation bank work. Item 10, Angelette Picciola, LLC, $43,253.25, and that's for the Fuchsia Bridge, along with dredge and marsh creation permit drawings for Fuchsia Island. Item 11, Grand Isle Shipyard, $34,173.66. That is for storm debris work, FBO contract labor. Item 12, Vision Communications, $31,995.87. That's for internet, phone, cable, and fiber optic services. Item 13, Ascent Aviation Group, $23,723.89. That's fuel for resale and truck rental. Item 14, Cotton Commercial USA Incorporated, $22,970.66. That's for the EOC temporary roof. Item 15, Arterman and Associates Incorporated, $19,752.50. That's for the West Fuchsia Marsh Creation and Nourishment Project, along with mitigation bank work. Item 16, Marsh USA, $16,819. That's for airport owners and operators liability insurance. We have a flip side, Mr. President. Next, we have Wackerspack Oil Incorporated, $14,070.63. That's for fuel for vehicles and equipment. Item 18, ABC Signs, $12,556.16. That's for signage and decals. And last, we have AXON Enterprise Incorporated, $11,420, and that's for taser maintenance. These expenditures, along with our others, bring us to a total of $3,917,344.70, Mr. President. After an exhausting read, I would like to make a motion we accept these expenditures.
All right, I got a motion from Mr. John Mellison, second from Mr. Mike Colley. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
And last on our agenda, we have out-of-state travel and training request. We have Harbor Police Sergeants Brooke Angelette along with Mitch Hennessy attending the Regional Counter Training Academy course in Meridian, Mississippi, February 21st through the 24th. And we also have Director Chasson attending the 2022 International Offshore Wind Partnering Forum in New Jersey. I'd like to make a motion, we accept these out-of-state travel and training requests.
Got a motion from Mr. John Millison, second from Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.
Mr. President, this concludes the Finance Committee report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Millison. Next we go, any other business? All right, any public comment?
I would like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Being we had elections of officers and our executive officers stayed the same, moving forward with our committees and committee chairs, will the committees and committee chairs remain the same, or there will be some changes to committees and committee chairs?
I haven't decided that, Mr. Colley. I'm going to talk to everybody, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, any other business? Public comment?
I move that we adjourn, Mr.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Jimmy Lafourche to adjourn. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rodney Gisclair. Any discussion? Any public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. I want to tell everyone, Mardi Gras, we're not having Mardi Gras down here, so that's hurting us a lot down here, since we're not having Mardi Gras. So people are going elsewhere for Mardi Gras. So everybody enjoy your Mardi Gras. Remember, if you're driving, be careful. No drinking and driving. I know I'm the last one to be saying that's from the past. But I mean, just everyone be careful for Mardi Gras. And have a good Mardi Gras and enjoy your time. Meeting adjourned.